What's going on, everybody? Josh, TutterRainGutterBusiness.com. Today we're doing a reinstall of a gutter on a standing seam roof. We got a new roof on part of the shop, so we're putting the gutters back on. Figured we'd show you guys how we deal with standing seam drip edge a little differently and how we go about it. So check it out. Okay, so just to give you a little backstory, we had a old it was a T-lock shingle, asphalt shingle roof on this, which has just standard drip edge, and it was like probably 50 years old. So these gutters, we just put them on like 2 years ago, so we figured we'd try to salvage them, throw them back up. This is a 5-inch architectural box gutter, or KWM box, but installs the same way as K-style. So the differences that we're going to have here are the length's probably going to be a little bit different. It'll be really close, but like within a half an inch, I would say. But the drip edge is a little bigger on this stuff, so it's like 2.5 deep, whereas asphalt shingle roof is only a 1 inch deep. So I'm going to have to get it under that drip edge. This is a really flat roof. So we'll have to deal with both ends before we start with install. I went and found the gutter that we took off, cleaned it out, took the hangers out. I'll show you why I did that here in a second, but see how it fits. So first, with this longer drip edge, it impacts how it interacts with the end caps a lot more than a normal asphalt shingle roof. So the ends, how I like to do it is just kind of create a little funnel into the gutter that gives you room to get your end cap in there, and kind of funnels it helps, especially if there's kick flashing, which this doesn't have great kick flashing, but funnels that water out of the corner. So I like to just grab the end and bend that into a funnel to where it kind of funnels the water into the gutter. This is bent around, so I'll probably just snip that off. It's just for looks, and the gutter hides that anyways. So I'll start out with screw selection. Since this is a steel roof, I always like to use a screw with a rubber washer on it. So we're just using a 2-inch ceramic screw rubber washer. I'm gonna have to drill through this drip edge because it's bigger, so it'll seal that hole through there. So when you're looking at this, keep in mind we're dealing with an old building that has had multiple additions, and who knows who built all this stuff. Not that happy with this little part of the building, but it is what it is. That's part of the reason why this fascia is short. So we're gonna put the gutter up there and cover that anyways, but just to give you guys a little backstory. So the other end, I got that end funneled in. This end, I'm gonna notch, not quite as much. This roof has a pretty good bow to it, so I'm not gonna be that high over here with the gutter, so you don't have to notch much out of it. And that should be good for both ends now. So a lot of times when, the roofers take these off or whatever, they just leave this guy on here. Sometimes they take them off, but what I like to do is just kind of flex them down a little bit, just so this doesn't get in the way when you're trying to get the gutter up. So how I like to deal with these is kind of get the center up. This drip edge is really tight, which makes it a lot harder. Get the back in there behind the drip edge. This roof has a real bad tendency to whip water around and then go behind the gutter if you slap this on top of the drip edge. So I always make sure and get this standing seam good and under the drip edge, and then put your hanger in and just sandwich the drip edge in there, just like that. So got the center about where I want it. I'll tack it off, and then I got it up as high as I can. So now I'll kind of work the whole thing in after this one's tacked. So once I get that center tacked, just kind of check both ends, make sure they look all right. This one has a little bit of free play, which is good. If you shove that in too tight, it makes it really hard to deal with it the rest of the time. So I like to leave just a 1/8 inch gap or something there to just have some room to move. And then, like I said, this is a different roof than before. So it doesn't quite line up with our roof edge, but not a big deal. Another thing to mention on anytime you're putting these hangers in after the gutter's up, you don't want to try to force one in right here next to the end cap. You want to get it out here, has a lot more flexibility, so you're a lot less likely to damage anything. So if you put your hanger in kind of as close to the end cap that feels comfortable, like bending the gutter out, and then just shimmy it over. And then don't go ahead and screw that in yet. Just, the gutter's held by the drip edge anyways, so just get a few hangers in. Because if you screw one of these, you start over with the flexibility issue. Okay, we got her in there, leveled. So now tack it off. One thing to mention with when you put your screws in, I always just kind of make sure these hangers are pretty level. You run the risk of missing the back of the gutter with your screw. So make sure your hanger's not too high and you're totally missing the back of your gutter. So like I was saying earlier, no kick flashing on this. The good thing we got going here is that it's one thing to look for on pretty much all metal roofs is how the water is flowing on this. So this is pitched enough to where water isn't going to run up in this corner and down the wall. So one thing to keep an eye out, sometimes these get kicked up, so all the water's running right down the wall, and especially if there's no kick flashing, it'll leak water out of that spot. So definitely would recommend some kick flashing in that situation. This should work fine. It has enough pitch to it. Another thing is the other end of the roof, the gable end, those can drain water off the crimped end of the last panel. So just kind of a couple things I like talk through with customers, saying, hey, this is a little different than a shingle roof, just so they're aware. And a little drip off the corner isn't going to cause any damage. I just like to let the customer know, that way they're not expecting for every little thing of water to be picked up. Hope this helped you guys out. Make sure and like, subscribe. See you on the next one. Thanks for watching.